Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is part 2 of Phantasm. Enjoy. You nodded and looked down then, finally allowing yourself to break eye contact and stare at the ground as you walked behind her, following her into the adjacent room. Hot on her heels, you trailed her into the next room and looked up to get your bearings, checking out all the structures that they had made in there. Okay, so this is the entrance here. People will be walking through this door, and you, Kendo explained as you continued to look at everything, will walk behind the scenes but follow beside them so you can quirk them up and make them feel things and make it feel much more real, she said excitedly. Yes, you said, stepping forwards and reaching out to touch the fabric that was lining the wooden frame walling. Kendo did some more explaining, but you had a pretty good idea of what you would do on the day and just went quiet and internally worked everything out. So, she said, finishing up again, will it work? Yes, you said, forcing a smile as you looked just off to her left and then quickly shifted your gaze to her eyes and counted to 3. 1, 2, 3. Then looked away. Sweet! Okay, so we just need to work out the light situation, then we can do some test runs, she said as she spun around and skipped off in the other direction, her mind working on hyperdrive to get this house of horrors set up quickly as possible. You looked around for the lights. You liked lights. You saw one on a stand nearby and walked over to it. It had a coloured light bulb set in the socket already, and you reached for the switch on the stand and turned it on. A soft blue light glowed up, and you immediately felt calm. Yes, this is nice, this is good, I like this a lot, the blue is good, you thought as you stared into the softly glowing orb, feeling like your world was being sucked into it, and being replaced by the feeling of euphoria. You don't know how long you had just been standing there staring into the light, but before you knew it the bell had rung and class was now over. Sadly you reached for the switch and felt the pressure under your thumb as you clicked the switch off and left your light behind. The next week or so was chaotic. You did your best to keep up and help as best you could. It was hard though, but you did it. You even did a few test runs with your quirk and scared the living daylights out of everyone who walked through the House of Horrors while you quirked them from your hidden walkway. And before you knew it, it was day of. The school was alive. There were triple the amount of people than usual, and you could almost feel the electricity in the air from all the extra bodies. It was noisier than usual too, obviously, and you could pick out the little clicks in people's tongues as they spoke. You stayed hidden in the side walkway of the horror house, and felt for the fabric of the wall, grabbing an extra loose piece of it and rubbing it between thumb and forefinger. It zenned your senses. You could focus a little better. The outside noise didn't get to you as much. You took a deep breath in and then out, staring down at the floor. Hey, psst, Yin, Kendo's voice whispered through the thin fabric wall. You ready? Yes, you replied back in a hushed tone, still rubbing the fabric between thumb and finger. Okay, good. Our first group is ready to go. You ready? She asked again, just to be sure. Ready as I'll ever be, you replied, stimming a little harder with the fabric piece between thumb and finger, trying to get ahead of the performance anxiety that was building in your chest. Okay, you'll hear them soon, she said before you heard her moving away to her start point. You loved using your quirk. You felt so free when you were using it. Your body would move on its own, neck arching, fingers clawing and moving like they were playing a piano, sometimes a little skip in your step. A lot of the time you just closed your eyes and let the quirk flow through you. As you let it work, it would often take a lot of your anxieties away. That was the nicest part of letting it grow and giving it motion. Most of the time you weren't aware of what you looked like when you were using it, but you'd been told that you looked weird, creepy. Why do you do those things with your hands? Can't you use it without being strange? Thankfully, people at UA seemed to understand quirks a little better and didn't say mean things like others did. This was a superhuman world anyway. Why did it matter what you did with your body when your quirk was in effect? But here, in the dark, you didn't have to worry about trying to keep your composure. Here you could be free. You heard the first few terrified whispers of the first lot of people to enter your hell, and you activated your quirk, letting go of your life-saving fabric piece and walking the walkway beside them. Your quirk, Phantasm, allowed you to create illusions or apparitions. You'd gotten pretty good with it over the years, and could create scenes for people as long as you were standing within range of them. At the moment, you could only manage a radius of about 3 to 5 metres from yourself, so it was close range, but you hoped to be able to extend that. You had a wide variety of applications. You could create a lovely scene for them, making them think that they were walking through a beautiful snowland, or even a Candyland. Or, like today, you could create the most terrifying scene ever, like a headless man trying to grab them while skeletons came to life and chased them. You heard shrill screams coming from the other side of your hidden walkway, and you smiled. "It's working," you thought with delight. The best thing was, it looked like your class had blown out on the budget for the animated props, but in actual fact the students were just walking through an empty hallway and your quirk was making them think that they were all these pop-up monsters coming out at them. Your class was for sure going to win the most frugal award. With the first terrified group done, you deactivated your quirk and smacked your lips together rapidly. Your tics always got a bit worse after you used your quirk for a while, so you were anticipating the backlash, but you wanted to help your class. You may have overcommitted a tad, but it was for everyone else, so that was fine, right? Any guesses as to what our dear Yin might have? I think I've made it a little bit obvious, but then again, having a quirk might blend some of her presenting symptoms together. Anyway, part 3 is coming tomorrow. I'll see you all then.